Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Kindly confirm when you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Thank you. Okay, welcome again, everybody. I hope you're as excited as we are for the information session. I will introduce myself. My name is Taonga Grace Banda Shizuka. I'm Innovation Lead at Bongo Hive, and I will be the facilitator for today's session. Allow me to briefly walk us through our agenda. Our time together today is only an hour. We hope to make sure that this 1 hour is impactful and informative so that you're able to take this information and write the best application that you can. I will ask in a short while, I'll ask for introductions from Bongo Hive and PEPFAR team. And then after that, I'll briefly explain why we are here. I will then hand over to Emily, who will take us through a keynote address. I will then walk us through challenge statements and eligibility. After this, I will hand over to Nchimunya from Bongo Hive, who will take us through the walkthrough of the application form, as well as the next steps. After this point, we will answer any questions you might have about the application process, the purpose of this innovation challenge, or indeed any other question that you might have that regards to the innovation challenge. And after this, we will close. We hope to be done by 11. Um, and yeah, if there's anything, please do let us know. I will at this point ask that Emily, please introduce yourself and your team, and then I'll ask the Bongo Hive team to also introduce themselves. Emily, I'm handing over to you now.
Thanks, Chaunga, and welcome everybody. It's nice to see a few people on the line today. Hello, I'm going to turn off my video now because I have a really bad internet connection. I can't even see your screen yet. It's still churning, Chaunga. My
Wow.
name is Emily. I know. My name is Emily Burrows. I work at the U.S. Embassy in the PEPFAR Coordination Office. For those who don't know, PEPFAR stands for the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, and I work as the U.S. Embassy
Emily, we've lost you. Emily? Okay. While Emily comes back on, Chimunya, please.
Thank you so much, Taonga. Hi, everyone. My name is Nchimunya Mnyama, and I am part of the innovation team at Bongo Hive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Emily, are you back? Okay. I will move along until Emily comes back, at which point, hopefully, it's time for her address. So, the reason we are all here today is to just walk you through the importance of the Innovation Challenge and to help guide you through a few things. So, it has been noted with dismay that there's been a reduction of condom use amongst adolescents and young people, and this in turn has led to an increase in new infections, new HIV infections, as well as STDs amongst the adolescents and young people group. So PEPFAR, in partnership with Bongo Hive, are calling upon individuals aged between 18 and 24 with creative and innovative solutions that can increase the uptake of condom use amongst this group. So if you're aged between 18 and 24 or are working in a team with people aged between 18 and 24, we encourage you to apply and think about what it is that we can look at or can be incorporated to creatively improve or increase the use of condoms amongst people in the mentioned age bracket. So this information session is meant to help you, guide you according to what we know to be, the reason behind the application process, and to guide you through the process as well. So later on, Chimunya will walk us through the application form itself, and we'll take any questions that you might have, as well as any lingering thoughts or doubts that you might have in your minds. We hope that this session will be an outlet for you and just to ensure that we are able to address any concerns you might have. Emily, are you back?
I am back, I think.
Okay, great. At this point, I'll hand over to Emily to take us through a keynote address.
Thanks very much, Thanks very much, Taonga. Why am I calling you Inchimunya? Let me try and share my screen just a moment. And let's not call this a keynote address. That is way too formal for me. But I hope we have a few young people on the line, and I'm gonna tell you why in a second. Let me just turn off. So this, as Taonga mentioned, this challenge is really geared toward adolescents and young people. We know that condom use amongst adolescents and young people is quite low in Zambia, and we want solutions from adolescents and young people to the challenges that not only that they face, but that their peers face. And so we're excited to be able to do this, open up this innovation challenge for adolescents and young people. Let me just see, could you see my screen yet?
Yes.
You can see this one?
The slide on the screen says understanding HIV risks and barriers to service delivery among young people. Is that the one?
Excellent. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So yes, exactly. So let me just get this in screen mode. Here's what I want to ask you guys today. So I want to start with quizzing all of you, and you don't respond to these questions. You don't have to respond out loud, but I want you to reflect on each of the slides. So our first question is, do you think you are at risk of getting HIV? So just let that percolate and think about that for a second. Okay. As an adolescent or young person. Okay, so the answer is yes, you are. The estimated number of annual HIV infections has decreased, and that's really great news. So you can see between 2010 and 2021, there's been a huge drop in new HIV infections among adolescents and young people. But a bit more disappointing news is that 40% of those new HIV infections still occur among adolescents and young people. So you can see amongst all of the almost 38,000 new infections that we saw in 2021, 40% or 14,611 of those infections were among adolescents and young people. And within that group of adolescents and young people, 78% were among young women and 22% were young men. So you can see that young people are definitely, while their risks are diminishing and there's fewer new infections, they still are at risk in comparison to other groups in the population. So here's our next thing I want you to think about. I can ask my boyfriend or girlfriend to use a condom. So think about that to yourself. Is that something that you would feel comfortable doing? So most people don't. I think the evidence shows us that using condoms to prevent, we know that using condoms or taking other prevention practices or using other prevention practices like PrEP can prevent or treat HIV, and they're highly effective HIV prevention options. But only 35% of girls and young women used a condom with someone who was not their boyfriend or partner in the last 12 months. So this indicates really low condom use and indicates also a risk for adolescents and young people. So our next question is, how many sexual, just don't answer this out loud, please. We don't need to know. How many sexual partners have you had in the past 3 months? And did you use a condom with all of those sexual partners? So we know that a lot of young people do not use condoms. So we've just said a lot of young people are not using condoms when they have sex. And we also know from evidence that people have more than one sexual partner at the same time or in the same period of time. So the more sexual partners a person has, the more likely they are to have a sexual partner who has HIV or a sexually transmitted infection. 60% of young men aged 20 to 24 who had sex with 2 or more people in the past 12 months did not use a condom. And that's not only placing themselves at risk, but their sexual partners at risk. Okay. So then next question is, I can say no to my boyfriend or girlfriend if he or she pressures me to have sex. So for young women, they experience a high degree of sexual violence, and that undermines their ability to negotiate safe sex. So 25% of adolescent girls and young women aged 15 to 19 experience physical or sexual violence from a male partner. And in those circumstances, it's highly unlikely that they're using condoms or asking or stopping to ask this person who's attacking them or assaulting them to use a condom. So what prevents you and your friends from accessing HIV and sexual and reproductive health services? So what we've heard from people is that stigma and discrimination discourage adolescents and young people from seeking services. And these are actual quotes from people. So sometimes I feel uncomfortable because I'm the only young person at the health facility. People don't feel comfortable asking for condoms at a health facility or other sexual and reproductive health services. Aren't always friendly, asking why I need a condom, or I'm afraid of being seen with them because people might see me as a prostitute. So why I'm sharing all of this information with you is because we know that adolescents and young people face barriers to condom use. It's not just a matter of being able to get a condom, but there's a multitude of other factors that often stand in their way, from self-discrimination and stigma to discrimination and stigma from others to gender-based violence. There's a multitude of factors that might prevent adolescents and young people from using condoms consistently and correctly. So that's why we have this Condom Innovation Challenge. We want to hear from adolescents and young people who know the challenges they face and who can propose really unique and innovative solutions. The last thing I wanted to share you is that as a part of this innovation challenge, we are really keen to reach out to a number of different people. We know that adolescents and young people are not all the same. Their age is different. They have different education. There's kids who have gone, there are young people who have gone to school, those who haven't gone to school. Some live in rural areas. Some have different gender identities or sexual orientation. Others are youth with disabilities. We need to be able to reach all of these people in order to be able to improve condom use, but also diminish HIV new infections in Zambia. And so as part of this challenge, we are eager to hear from a multitude of different young people with their creative ideas so that we can reach adolescents and young people in all their diversity. So I hope that was helpful for everyone. That's kind of how I wanted to frame the challenge and why we're doing this. And I'll be happy to answer questions when we get to the Q&A. Thanks very much. I hope that was helpful, Tonga.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, it was. It was a very interesting quiz. I hope that everybody took something away from it. Could you kindly confirm when you can see my screen?
Yes, you can see your screen.
Thank you, Chimunia. So as Emily has mentioned, there are various factors that are affecting the adoption of condom use amongst AYP, so the adolescents and young people. We had an insight formation session with groups of different people. So we had experts and young people in a room to tell us a little bit about what they have noticed to be some of the key challenges affecting the adoption of condom use or the slow uptake of condom use amongst this group. We use these insights to come up with themes. We use these themes to come up with insights, and these are the challenge statements that I'm going to read out for you now. These challenge statements are what you will be responding to in your application. So say, for example, I was participating, or I would like to participate in this innovation challenge and would like to apply. In the application form, Nchimunia will walk us through that momentarily. In the application form, I will indicate which of the challenge statements I am responding to, and I will give my potential solution or idea for that particular challenge statement. So we have 5 challenge statements that came out of the process, and I will read them now. The first challenge statement was addressing beliefs. It reads, how might we effectively dispel the myth that sex without a condom is not pleasurable? How might we effectively dispel the myth that sex with a condom is not pleasurable? That's the first one. So how might we effectively dispel the myth that sex with a condom is not pleasurable? The second challenge statement addresses social and cultural norms. It reads, How might we assist girls like Mwewa in negotiating for safer sex with their partners? How might we assist girls like Mwewa in negotiating for safer sex with their partners? I will make mention now that in the application form, you'll notice that there's a problem statement that will give you a bit of context and background before we actually frame the challenge statement for you. So Mwewa is a person that, when you go into the application process, is a person that is being affected by the social and cultural norms. So you will be responding to how might we assist girls like her in negotiating for safer sex with their partners. The third challenge statement addresses sensitization and strategy. It reads, how might we create open and fun approaches that support and encourage young people to access and use condoms? How might we create open and fun approaches that support and encourage young people to access and use condoms? The fourth challenge statement is fear of judgment. How might we ensure that adolescents and young people like Monga Malasha, whose context will be found in the problem statement in the application form, can address condoms free from judgment or discrimination? So how might we ensure that adolescents and young people like Monga Malasha can access condoms free from judgment or discrimination? And the last challenge statement addresses media and technology. How might we use technology, media, or other strategies to help young women like Liseli easily access reliable information about HIV prevention, products, and services? How might we use technology, media, or other strategies to help young women like Liseli easily access reliable information about HIV prevention products and services? So as mentioned, there are 5 challenge statements. There are 5 problem statements, each with a corresponding challenge statement. You are to respond to one that you feel addresses your interest, or respond with a solution to the challenge statement in the application form. At this point, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have in a little while, but at this point, allow me to ask Nchimunya to walk us through the application link. Sorry, Nchimunya, before you come on, please allow me to just quickly talk about the eligibility criteria. You've heard us mention that we are looking specifically at adolescents and young people. We would specifically like to hear solutions and ideas from young Zambians aged between 18 and 24 years old. The reason that we do not want to open this to people above this age group is because we want to hear from the people that are affected themselves what they would identify as being the best way to solve this problem. The second is we would particularly like to receive applications from people or teams based in Lusaka, Southern, Central, and Copperbelt provinces. This is because this is where the PEPFAR Zambia projects are currently being run, and we would like to hear from people in those areas. But one of the most important things is that you need to be passionate about creating social change, and you've got a burning desire to help solve some of the problems that we have mentioned here today. At this point, I'll invite Nchimunya to share his screen and walk us through the application process. Thank you. Nchimunya, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Danga, for that. Just let me just share my screen. Kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much once again. So we have a link that we have been sharing on our media platforms that takes you to this page. So this is basically what you're going to see once you sign up to this page. So we have general information that you are required to fill in. So under general information, this is where you tell us about your name and the name of your idea or solution. So let's say if you your name, your personal name, or the idea of the solution, and on this one you are supposed to fill in your active email address. By active email address, because we're going to be using this email address to send you information that is required, or if you want to get to you or contact you. This also applies with the contact number. These three, let me just say, all this under general information is mandatory and is required. Then you're also required to share your age and location. That also applies with the gender itself. So part of the general information as well, we are trying to understand if you are applying as a team or as an individual. So we need to know exactly how you're applying, and if you are team members, you need to also give us their details, their name and their contact details for us to contact them and for us to know more about them.
Chimonia,
So
sorry to
after you
Chimonia.
provide,
Sorry, Chimonia, can you hear me?
yes, please.
Could you please speak up? We have a comment in the chat just asking if you can please speak up and turn on your camera if possible. We're having trouble hearing you. Thank you. If you're having trouble
Okay,
with your internet,
all
it's
right.
okay with your
Thank you.
camera, but please just speak up. Thank you.
All right, can you hear me?
I can. Yes, I've got a notification saying yes. Thank you. Please maintain the voice pitch. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So I was talking about the general information, and I was running you through what we are requiring from you in terms of what you need to provide us with. So I mentioned earlier on that we have an area where you need to fill in your general information. That is the name, your active email address, your active contact number, the age of the applicant in this case, and the location, and also the gender. So I was talking about applying as, are you applying as a team? So you have an option to tell us, are you applying as a team or not? So if you're applying as a team, you are also required to list your team members and their contact details as well, for us to easily get in contact with you and also to get to know about them as well. So after you provide us with that information, we also need to know what is your motivation for applying for this innovation challenge. So once you tell us about your motivation, what motivates you to apply for this innovation challenge, then on the 10th one, um, so we are asking that, are you willing to be placed in a team involving are you willing to be placed in a team solving a similar challenge statement? So this actually means that there are times that maybe two teams are applying, then they are focusing on the same solution or they are having similar ideas. So are you willing to be placed in a team together to create that solution or to work together? So now we move to the problem statements. So a few minutes ago, Taonga just uh, ran us through the problem statements. So in this section of the application, you are required to tell us what you are addressing in terms of your solution. Yes. So note that this innovation challenge has 5 problem statements and 5 corresponding challenge statements. So you are required to read each and every statement and let us know which challenge statement you are or you would like to explore solving for. So on this one, we have 5 problem statements. Which one are you going to solve it for? So is it the first one? Is it on beliefs? Is it on social cultural norms? Social cultural norms, sensitization and strategy, fears of judgment. Does it also deal with media and technology? So you're able to choose which one you want to address in your solution. So after you do that, as I was saying, that what problems and challenge statements are you responding to? So this is where you get to choose it. Are you responding to either of these? You need to put it there on that box. Then we also ask you, how does the solution address the challenge presented? So this is where you tell us, how does your proposed solution seek to increase the use of condoms among adolescents and youth between the age of 16 to 24? So this is where you tell us about your idea, your solution, and how it's addressing those challenge statements. So we also need to know what makes you unique, what makes your solution unique, because we know that there are so many existing solutions. So what makes you stand out as a solution? So that is what you are required to also put there. Then the last question is, are you willing to participate in a 5-day program in Lusaka? So this innovation challenge will require you to be in Lusaka in person between the 30th January and the 3rd of February 2023. So you need to tell us that, are you willing to take part in this innovation challenge? So with that, we can be able to know exactly if you're going to make it to the same program. So I think that will be off. Thank you, Tanga, for that.
Thank you, Nchimunye. Okay. Thank you, Nchimunye, for running us through the application form. I will take us briefly through what the next steps are. As you know, hopefully by now, that applications are open for the Innovation Challenge, and there's a link that has been shared on our social media platforms. So you can find it on Facebook, on Twitter, I believe on LinkedIn. And we will keep sharing more information along the way. Additionally, this information session will also be uploaded and shared so that you can make reference to it should you have any questions or if you have forgotten anything that we have discussed today. Applications will run until the 23rd of December when we will close them, and the shortlisted candidates will be notified in the second week of January. So everyone that's applying should be, as Njumunia has mentioned, should be ready to attend an in-person sprint week from the 30th of January to the 3rd of February. So the notified selected candidates will be here in person, but as you're applying, please have in the back of your mind that will require you to be here in person from the 30th of January to the 3rd of February. So that's Monday to Friday. During Sprint Week, we will have a pitch finale in which 3 teams will be awarded first, second, and third place. The first place will walk away as a team with a prize of 18,000 kwacha. Second place will walk away with 12,000 kwacha for the team. And third place with 9,000 kwacha for the team. After this, PEPFAR Zambia and its partners will assess whether the ideas or the solutions that have come out of this process fit into their overall strategy. And if need be, and it does, we'll be able to reach out for next steps. At this point, I will allow any questions that you might have and invite Emily and the Bongo Hive team to address any questions that will come out of this process. Thank you so much. I'll stop sharing my screen so that I can monitor the chat as well. Any questions?
So Tonga, there was a question in the chat that I responded to. It was a question about why we are not focusing in all of the provinces in Zambia, especially in some of the more rural districts or rural provinces. I think my answer to that is that, we do have limited resources. So we do want to focus as PEPFAR Zambia, and where we see the highest number of new infections in Zambia, which are reducing our opportunities to achieve kind of epidemic control in Zambia. So are in Lusaka, Copperbelt, Southern, and Central provinces. So we're focusing on those provinces for right now. That does not necessarily mean that these ideas that will, or the solutions that everyone comes up with, will not be applicable to other areas. And so as we're reviewing applications, we'll be looking to see, are the solutions widely applicable? Could they be adapted to different areas of the country? But for right now, we are focusing on these 4 provinces, inviting responses and solutions from these areas, because that's where we see the greatest impact of new HIV infections.
Thank you so much for that, Emily. I hope that answers the questions that may have arisen around the location and why we've chosen those particular areas. In the chat function now, okay, the others were around voice projection. Okay, there's a question here from Clarence Makungu on whether there are any restrictions as the number of words when filling in the input forms. So Clarence, you'll notice when you go to the application form, where there's a restriction, it's indicated as you answer the question. If there isn't anything indicated, then you're at liberty to write to your heart's desire. Just make sure, please, that as you are writing your application forms, that what you're writing is actually relevant and not just putting words for the sake of putting words down. Okay, there's another question saying, sorry to take you back. Are we applying as an individual or as an organization? So we ask for your team name earlier on in the application process, because we are aware that some of you already have pre-existing groups that you may have formed. So if you have an organization or a body that you have formed to address issues such as these, you are at liberty to apply, but there should be one team lead. So the person that's actually filling out the application is the one that will put their name. And then you must indicate your team members in the slot that asks you to list down your team members. So feel free, apply, but just make sure that you list down your team members as well. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Shimunya or Lenny, in case there's something we've missed in the live stream or in another chat, please let us know.
Thank you, Tanga. There are actually some questions on Facebook.
Yes, please.
All right, can I read them out for you?
Yes, please.
All right. So this one says, I couldn't proceed with the application because I was required to create a page for myself first. How can I apply without me having to create a page?
You will need to create the page. You will need to create, so right at the beginning, it's not a long process. It will ask you first, you need to create a page for your company, your startup, or your team. So it's just basic information to help capture. So you will need to fill in this very basic information, and then it will allow you to proceed. So yeah, please just do that. It's not a very long process. Thank you, Lenny.
All right, thank you, Tanga.
We have a question from Mukuka, who says that, have you noted that despite the low condom use and the purported low HIV rates, there is an increase in the rates of adolescents, as Emily earlier alluded to? My concern is, do you consider the use of community talks to spread this information? Further, what happens when a team has people within the age group, yet the team leader is a year above?
Emily, I think I'll hand over part of this question to you. If you feel confident to answer all of it, that's fine, or you can pass it to me when you're done.
Sure. I think ideally we're looking for teams or individuals who are between the ages of 18 and 24. And I think we would have to handle, if you have somebody that's above the age of 25, above the age of 24, we'll have to review that and consider that as, we don't want to discourage people from applying, but we are very keen to get ideas from 18 to 24-year-olds. So if you've got someone on your team who's 25, 26, please go ahead and apply, and we'll evaluate those those solutions on a case-by-case basis. I hope that's okay. I did see something in the chat from Christabel, and I was about to respond. Christabel, you are allowed to apply as an individual, but the application does ask that if you're applying as an individual, if you're comfortable being placed in another team. If with other people to come up with a team, because the way it works during pitch week is that you'll be working in teams of 10, and so we'll have to be able to find individuals who have applied and who have similar ideas and can come together as a team. Is that correct? Am I correct in clarifying that, Taunga?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So please don't be discouraged whether you're applying as an individual or as a team. But for those applying as individuals, it's why we ask you later on as well if you're okay with being placed in a team, because for the sprint week, you will need to be in teams. So if you're applying as an individual, just indicate if you're okay with being placed with a team that might be working on a similar idea as yours. Otherwise, if you've already got a team that you've established, then that's fine. You can apply representing that team. And then just to go back a little to Mukuka's first question on whether we have considered community talks to spread this information. I don't think the purpose of this discussion is to talk about what we have used or what we haven't used, but rather to open the floor to what you think could be the best way, to what innovative ways you think could be the best in increasing the uptake of condom use amongst these groups. So please respond to the questions, whichever challenge statement speaks to you the most. And if this is your solution, then feel free to also respond accordingly. But just make sure that you think about creative or innovative ways to hold these communicative talks, because there will be multiple applications, and we are looking out for something that is different from what's already being done as well. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions?
Well, the other question I think has been answered, because it was also talking about the team, because one was asking if you can apply as an individual or a team. So I think it was addressed.
Okay, thank you. Lenny, is there anything else from your end?
Thank you, Tonga. There is a comment on Facebook from Michelle Fanina. I don't know if she's still following. She hasn't really specified, but she said, I'm having a problem with the application. So Michelle, if you are still following, please highlight what problem exactly you're having with the application so we can address it right now in the Q&A.
Yes, thank you so much. I believe that I saw a question from Young Leadership Zambia, but I don't see it anymore. Should I give you access? Would you like to just ask your question directly? Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? Lenny, anything from your end?
On this end, no, we've covered the ones on Facebook.
Okay, thank you. Chimunia, anything on your end?
Okay, we have one from Patricia, who asks, when you apply as an individual, you will be put in a group or work individually. So I'm not so sure if that's a question or... So basically asking how you're going to be placed in groups.
Okay, so Patricia, if you apply as an individual, you must be willing to be added to a group. So you must be willing to join either an existing group that has 2 people to make 3, or to be paired with other individuals who are working on a similar idea. So if you apply as an individual, please note that you will not go through Sprint Week as a party of one. You will need to have a group. So we will have to group you together with people working on a similar idea as yours. And this is something that you need to be okay with. or if not, you can indicate as well in the application form. But the idea of Sprint Week is that you must work in teams. Thank you. Yes,
Sorry,
Lenny.
Tanga. I don't know if this has been addressed, but these are some questions from LinkedIn from Alice Mwale.
Yes, please.
So, sure. So she's asked about 3 questions. Can submissions be submitted as a group? I think that might have been addressed. The other question is, can one person submit a solution to more than one problem? Then the third question is, are there any prizes?
Okay, thank you. So the first question has been answered. The second question, ideally, it would be useful for us if you respond to the one that you are most passionate about, but maybe we can limit it to 2. I'll ask Emily to clarify here if this would also be helpful for you.
Thanks. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's okay if you apply for more than one. What we're really looking for is people that are passionate about the specific challenges and to respond to those challenges that speak most to you as an individual. So, for example, if you're a young woman who in your lifetime has had that fear of, asking your partner to use a condom and feeling worried about it, like maybe that's the one that speaks most to you. If you're a young man who feels like you can't have sex with a condom because it's not pleasurable, maybe that's the one that you're drawn to. And so I think it's really, I wouldn't limit you from applying for more than one, but I do think it's important to think about the challenge statements carefully and think about how they relate to you and the challenges you've seen amongst your peers, because I think that's the way we find the most creative ideas, is from people who have experienced those challenges that we are trying to explain in this innovation challenge. Thanks, Tonga.
Thank you, Emily. Just to add on to that, yes, please, you can respond to more than one, but we will help you build one solution, work through one solution during Sprint Week. So we will run you through a process, and you might find that maybe it can be a combination or something, but during Sprint Week, we'll focus on one idea for your team. Lenny, please remind me what the last part of the 3-part question was.
All right, so the last part was a question asking if there are any prizes. Then after you respond to that, we also have a question on YouTube.
Okay, thank you. Yes, there are prizes. We mentioned in the presentation, first place will walk away with 18,000 kwacha to be shared amongst the team. First runners up or second place will walk away with 12,000 kwacha to be shared amongst the team. And third place or second runners up will walk away with 9,000 kwacha to be shared amongst the team. Also, when I say walk away, you're not going to receive the money on the day. This will be sent to you after the event via bank transfers. So yes, there's prize money for first, second, and third place, 18, 12, and 9,000 kwacha respectively.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me just go ahead and read the one on YouTube. So it says, hey, I'm not based in Lusaka at the moment, but I was born and raised there. I'm currently out of Zambia at the moment. I was wondering if I could apply to suggest an idea solution. So they are not in Lusaka, but were born and raised in Zambia. So they're wondering if they can still take part in this challenge.
Are they currently in Zambia or out of Zambia?
Currently out of Zambia at the moment.
So, I mean, I don't know what at the moment means for how long you're out of Zambia, but we require that the people that will be selected for this need to be available to attend in person at the end of January. So if you're from Lusaka and you will be in Zambia, you individually or as your team will be in Zambia on the date specified, that's 30th January to 3rd February, then please feel free to apply.
Thank you. That should be it for me from now. Oh, sorry, there's a new message on Facebook. I'm not sure if this was addressed already. It says, what's the maximum number of members that a team should have?
3. For the process, 3. I don't know what your structures are internally, but for the process, 3. Thank you. I've seen a question as well in the chat. It's Emily, it will go to you directly. It says, is PEPFAR ready to partner or collaborate with organizations that work with adolescents in different provinces on sexual reproductive health education, sexual reproductive health sciences, and how does it work? And how does it work CBOs in different communities? I am more concerned about rural communities. Emily, was that clear? Should I read it again? Emily, are you there? Okay, we'll come back to this question when Emily is able to log back on. Thank you, Maggie.
Hi, Tonga. I'm joining by phone now. I hope you can hear me. Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Is PEPFAR ready to partner or collaborate with organizations that work with adolescents in different provinces on sexual reproductive health education, sexual reproductive health services? How does it work with CBOs in different communities? I am more concerned about rural communities.
Sure. I think this might be a little bit outside the Condom Innovation Challenge. So for this challenge, again, what we are hoping to do is identify 3 really creative solutions to improving condom use. On Pitch Day, we've talked about having our implementing partners that we currently work with to support HIV prevention programs across the country to join the Pitch Day to hear about these ideas and to be able to engage with the teams to learn more about how they could integrate these ideas into their programs. In general, I'm happy to respond to other questions about how PEPFAR partners with civil society organizations or community-based organizations throughout the country through our small grants program. But I think that's a bit outside of the scope of the Innovation Challenge. I hope I understood the question correctly. Thanks.
Thank you, Emily. I see a, yes, please.
Yes, we have 2 questions actually. One is asking about the deadline for submitting the applications, and the second one is about, is there a possibility to reconsider expanding the age range for those that are applying? Maybe that can be addressed as well. Yeah.
Thank you. The deadline is the 23rd of December, so your applications should have come in before or by the 23rd of December. Regarding the second question, I think Emily has touched on this already, but just to reiterate, first priority will be given to teams that are aged between 18 and 24. However, this doesn't mean that those aged above should not apply. So first preference will be given to this age group. But if your idea is really out of this world and innovative, or there's something about it that is striking, it doesn't mean that just because you exceed this, then don't apply. But just to say that first priority is being given to people aged between 18 and 24 years old.
And Taunga, if I could add on to that, maybe to explain why we're focusing on solutions from 18 to 24-year-olds. I think it's because so often within our programs, not just us, but other people, we design solutions for adolescents and young people without really getting input from adolescents and young people. You know, I'll be honest, I'm a 46-year-old woman, and I don't think I'm really well equipped to say, like, this is what we should do. Sometimes I think we need to get the creative ideas from the adolescents and young people themselves and to hear what they think. So we're really trying through this innovation challenge to tap into the creativity, ingenuity, experience, and just the kind of passion that adolescents and young people have. And so we're really hoping to find solutions within that age group. Thanks.
Right, thank you, Emily. I see one question here from Mukuka. What happens when you're picked but can't get to Lusaka during the time stated? Is it an automatic disqualification? Well, Mukuka, you need to be present physically to take part in the sprint week. So we hope that by virtue of you sending in your your application, you are able to block out those dates. However, if you're picked and you are not able to come, if you're working in a team, it's still not the end of the world because your teammates can come and represent you. But if you're working as an individual, this would then depend on who you're paired with and if you agree on a similar idea. Thank you very much. It's 10:55. We'll allow for 2 more minutes of questions, if there are any, before we close the session. Any other questions? Lenny?
Thank you, Tanga. Most of the questions that we've had have been addressed.
Thank you so much. Njimunya?
That applies as well. So most of the questions in the chatbot have been responded to.
Okay,
Basically,
thank you so
mostly on
much.
the age and like the age limit.
Thank you so much. Matthew says, I can't wait to attend the meeting. We can't wait for you to attend to, Matthews. We hope you make it to Lusaka. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I'll invite Emily to just say any words or anything that has come to mind just to close this for us, and then we will wrap up. Emily?
Thanks very much, Tonga, and to the Bongo Hive team for hosting us today. And thank you to those of you who made time to attend and ask questions either through this Zoom call or LinkedIn or other platforms. I don't even know how you did that, Bongo Hive. You guys like blow my mind when it comes to technology. I'm such a novice. But I just wanted to say, a huge thank you to everybody who participated. Please encourage, friends, peers, and others to apply. We're really looking for creative ideas. And I think with your creative solutions and innovation, we can find some really positive approaches to addressing what has been a very sticky challenge for a long time. So thank you all for joining today.
Thank you so much, Emily. And indeed, thank you to everybody that took the time to make it today. Thank you to the Bongo Hive team. Thank you to our partner, PEPFAR, and to everybody that has joined in today. If you have any questions regarding the process that you feel have not been addressed in this particular information session, please send us an email and we will be happy to respond accordingly, or you can send it on our socials and it will be shared with us and we will respond to your questions. Just a reminder, the deadline is 23rd December. Please ensure that you've completed your application by then, and you will be hearing from us at the beginning of January, whether you have made it or not. And we look forward to seeing you or interacting with you in different spaces. I wish you all a wonderful day and a good wind down to your week. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Tanga.
Thank you.